Are you a business owner stuck in fear, doubt, and worry about what the marketplace will look like in the future? Then this show is for you. Strap on your seatbelt and get ready to disrupt and innovate. Here's your host, Lisa Levy.
Today I have a very special guest joining us, David Hall. David is an accomplished business strategist and the CEO of Kyrios Systems, an organization that helps businesses achieve incredible sales growth while saving time and money. With years of experience under his belt, David has worked with numerous clients, including Fortune 500 companies, startups, and small to medium businesses. He's developed customized strategies for explosive sales growth. He understands the frustrations of wasting time and money on ineffective marketing tactics and aims to provide reliable and predictable solutions for his clients. I'm thrilled to have David Hall on the show today to share his insights and his expertise for driving sales growth and maximizing efficiencies. Viewers and listeners, get ready to be inspired by today's guest's innovative strategies and valuable advice. David, welcome to the conversation.
Thanks so much, Lisa.
I am so excited to have you here with us today, and I've teed you up with a brief intro, but the audience always really enjoys hearing your story from you. Will you tell us how you got started and your journey, how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So it's funny because a lot of people look at me today and say, oh, you're so fortunate, you're so fortunate. But, you know, my background, I came from extreme poverty, right? And so my entrepreneurial journey started at about 8 years old. And it was we don't have enough money to eat and we don't have enough money for things and so on and so forth. And it was, I actually started selling when I was 8 to try to get extra money to be able to do things, right? And so it was quite the interesting journey. I actually started my first company when I was 14. And by the time I was 16, I actually had 5 employees. So I couldn't legally own a company, but I did. So I had 5 employees, was making good money. It was a graphic design firm called Nifty Designs at that particular point. Started my second company at 17, which was a business consulting firm. One of the questions a lot of people have asked me over the years is, I mean, David, as a business consultant, where did you go to school to get your training? And I went to the School of Hard Knocks, quite frankly. I've spent well over $1 million on just education. I'm the kind of guy that just buys everything under the sun if there's a good golden nugget in it and this and the other. But how I started my second company, oddly enough, and into my consulting journey was I had a client that came to me at Nifty Designs and ordered a complete rebrand, right? And so this was really pre-internet, all that kind of stuff. So we spent some weeks going through all of this stuff, and the guy comes in, we finish, and he talks about how beautiful it is, and on his way out the door, he throws it in the trash. And I said, wait a minute, what are you doing? And he said, well, what I realized was, I realized over this time that we spent together, I didn't actually need a rebrand. He said, you really gave me a lot of insight into what I was doing wrong in the company, and I've been able to fix some of this stuff. And you know, you've really got a good mind for business. And I thought, wow, this is amazing for a kid that's not even a legal adult at this particular point, but it's always just made sense, right? So that kind of started me on the business consulting journey, and was able to be very successful at that, quickly referred up to working, as you mentioned, with Fortune 500 companies and you know, small startups and those kind of things as well. I've been very blessed over the years for those kind of things. And there were a couple of things that frustrated me. So my area of expertise has been in business development, business growth, business strategy, a lot in the area of marketing, and so on and so forth. And so I started a consulting firm years and years ago. And then several years after that, I actually started a marketing agency. And so the marketing agency kind of came about from this idea of the consulting firm used to refer people out because a lot of what the needs were in marketing or marketing growth, so on and so forth. And it got to the point where I just really couldn't trust people. You know, you would refer someone out to someone and tell them, hey, this is what they need, and we'll call it email marketing or SEO or whatever it may be. And then they're trying to sell them on something different. And to me, I'm that control freak when I'm working with someone in their business. You know, you're going to do what I need you to do. Yeah. And so being that control freak, I finally said, forget it. We're just gonna get rid of all that. I will hire the people that I need to hire. We'll start the marketing agency and do those kind of things. And so I've had the marketing agency now for 21 years, and it's been very good for clients to be able to have that. In fact, the majority of our client base have been with us longer than 10 years. The agency doesn't take on many clients. We're very picky about who we take on. And so Kyrios actually kind of came from the original idea of Kyrios 3.5 years ago, kind of came from the needs of both of our clients and my agency and my own companies. And so the idea there was that we were spending loads of time logging into Facebook and Instagram and logging into email and logging into this platform for this and this platform for that. And I need to log into the CRM. And what I was finding is that with a lot of our clients, the learning curve on a lot of platforms is very steep. Now, add to that the multitude of platforms that they have, and it's no wonder that people are not getting what they need to get out of this, because there's so many different places, so much to learn, so much to do. And let's face it, we're all busy, right? I'm busy as a executive and a business owner myself. And so my staff was having the same issues. It's okay, we've got this client that's got 15 different logins and 15 different places to do. Well, that's not efficient, right? So that causes efficiency issues, not just in marketing, but in everything in business, right? And so we started out on this process of building Kyrios specifically for solving that problem for my agency's clients. And then once 100% of my agency's clients are actually on the platform, all of my businesses run on the platform and all of that. And so then we started to have clients come and say, hey, I know so-and-so, and they need this. Well, I'm sorry, it's not available to the public, and we're not taking on new clients. So you can't have it. And it took about 1.5 years of clients coming to us for us to finally say, look, we're listening. We're going to actually bring this to the public and allow public access to be able to do it. And that's how Kyrios actually got to public access.
So, David, that is a fantastic journey, starting literally at 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, as I am listening through the entire story, right, there's a theme in this, and you said it yourself. At 17 years old, you rebranded a company. Your client threw it all in the trash because he didn't need a rebrand. He needed to fix his business. And you were talking to him in a way that just simply made sense.
Right.
Common sense, which is something that is so incredibly uncommon in our world today, is the foundation, I think, of everything that you've built over time, right? It's about solving specific problems, looking for effectiveness and efficiency. And in this, you've created Kyrios, which is, a platform to make running our businesses actually easier so that we can focus on our clients and our customers rather than all of the systems and tools that it takes to make a business today operate.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. The funny thing is that, my theme for many years, John Maxwell said, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, right? And so that's the thing that we see every day with companies is we get so busy doing the day-to-day that we forget to we need to spend time working on the business, not just in the business. We need strategy. And the problem is that for most of us, we end up walking around on a day-to-day basis with blinders on, right? Psychology calls it unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. And so we end up getting blindsided because of those blinders. And then it's only then that we tend to make a change when something major happens to us. When in reality, if we get on this search, and that's really where my search has been, is the world is complicated enough. Let's simplify things down, right? So the more we can make it simple and keep it simple and then build strategy around simplicity, then again, the easier all of this becomes for all of us.
Yeah. And in my world, right, the language, right, I want us to be disruptive. I want to challenge the status quo. I want us to make a positive impact. And I like to distill it down to finding elegance in simplicity. Mm-hmm. which lets us as business owners and leaders focus on the things that matter.
Right.
And, in your own words, right, you have done this out of your own control freak nature,
right,
to get to a point where we can invest time and energy in the right places. You took us on a gorgeous journey of how you got to where you are. But as you were building the agency and going through all of that, this doesn't happen easily. Talk to me, tell us a story about some of the challenges and maybe some of the roadblocks that you faced while you were putting these pieces together.
Oh, geez. There's, roadblocks are constant. It is one of those things that, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and it's like I told him, I said, anything worth having is worth working hard for, and nothing is expected to come easy. And so the idea of roadblocks, challenges, I like the word challenges. I don't ever like the word failures. I've had loads of failures, as many people would define in my life. But the idea, the story back behind that is, geez, let me pick one. I've tried so many things that I've thought over the years that, man, this is a great idea. This would be really helpful. This would really work. And then I go back and I look at it. I'm like, well, okay, am I an idiot? What's wrong? What was wrong with me in this? That was a terrible idea, right? And so for me, failure is an event. It's not a person. And this idea that I'm going to try things. I try things. I try things daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and not everything's going to work. Not everything will be good. Not everything will be successful. But my success in large part has come from the fact that I try things and I fail, and then I sit down and I ruminate over those things. I say, okay, well, what went wrong? What happened? What do I need to do? What do I need to change? And now let's try this again. And for example, the Kyrios as an example. So the initial iteration of Kyrios, one of the initial things that we did was I had a company called Review Hero Pro. And Review Hero Pro was a good company, and there's nothing wrong with it. It was focused on reputation management and email reputation management, SMS, and growing through that kind of stuff. And the company did fine, but at the end of the day, we didn't have as much adoption as I thought there was going to be. Even though I know it's a very important thing. But in large part, we didn't have the adoption that I thought that there was going to be, because of the fact that it was more complicated. In my mind, it was simple, but it was more complicated than in reality it needed to be. And Review Hero Pro actually doesn't even exist anymore. When we built Kyrios, we actually integrated everything that Review Hero Pro had as a company into the Kyrios platform. And I've done that actually with a number of companies. We're in the process. One of the companies that I started years ago is a company called Entrepreneurial University. And again, successful company. We focused on homeschool associations, homeschool families, teaching students and parents how to be entrepreneurs, right? And so it was based on everything that I've learned over the years on how to be an entrepreneur. And so, while the business itself was fine, you still have that roadblock there of, okay, I've got to get this out to homeschools and homeschool associations, and people have to buy into this thought process and everything else. And it did very well. We had lots of praise with that being our target market. We've recently decided, actually, we're integrating all of Entrepreneur University into Kyrios as well, right? So it's part of my process of simplification too, is we built an academy inside Kyrios, and all of the courses that Entrepreneur University had will be free for Kyrios members, right? We just want people to learn and grow. And so oddly enough, Entrepreneur University originally started from this idea that I had of, I just want to teach people. I want to help people. I want to grow people and all that. And it was actually a president of a homeschool association that came to me and said, look, my students need to know more about business. And I understand you're one of the best. And so can you help me with courses for them? So we actually originally built it out for students. But at the same time, my thought process was, I just want to teach the whole, right? I want to teach everybody. And so lots of challenges in that, but it also means that for me, one of the things that we look at is, okay, just because I create something for one reason, it may work for that reason or it may not work for that reason, but it doesn't mean that I can't take that and pivot it in some other way. And that has been really the biggest thing that got us even through COVID and all of that. And working with the businesses that we did was this idea of pivot, right? If I keep everything simple, then it's easy for me to pivot, right? When these catastrophes or anything happens, I can pivot, right? Simplicity pivots easily.
Absolutely. And the other thing that you described through that, that experience and how you've grown and consolidated everything into Kyrios, right, is a living commitment to experimentation and innovation, right? That having an idea and acting on an idea is valuable regardless of whether that idea comes to fruition or not, right? The worst ideas may result in some of the greatest learning moments that drive the next thing that is important and impactful. And we, especially we in the United States, have this fear of failing. Mm-hmm. And I love your, the words that you used. Failing is an event. It's not a person. Failure is not a person. And and I talk a lot about this with my clients and from on stages, that we have to experiment often. We have to have the big ideas. We have to say them out loud to others, because sometimes, right, what's so brilliant inside of our heads is so incredibly awful and wrong, and it's not going to accomplish anything. But until we say it, try it, test it, we don't know. And we have to go through the bad ones to get to the good ones. And the more we embrace the willingness to try and learn, the more we're going to be able to influence the outcomes of our business and of our clients and our customers' needs. I love that is just a driving factor of how you run your business. I don't know if that you didn't say it was on purpose. I think it's just how you operate. But it is such a big thing for the audience to get, that this ongoing, commitment to trying and seeing what happens is so critical for our businesses. Getting to the point of, through COVID, having it be simple allows us to pivot when something doesn't work, right? Unexpected outcomes drive the need to take a different set of actions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I look at it, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, I came from nothing. Yep. I came from extreme poverty, and I have 4 children. My kids made fun of me a while back. They went through the chest that has all my old stuff in it, and they started pulling out Dad's yearbooks from years and years ago. And they started noticing, Dad, you got on the same shirt this year and this year and this year. And I said, what you don't understand is that's all I had, right? At that time in my life, I had 2 shirts, 3 shirts, and that was it. And I did not have, so that's the same multiple years, I had these things. And so, for me, this idea of failure that so many people are afraid of, I've never had that fear, because I think of where I came from. But I also look at it philosophically a little different. Is, I look at it, you can't have light without dark. Right? You can't have good without evil. But the same thing, it's my firm belief that you can't have success without failure. There's no such thing as success without failure. Any success that comes without failures being attached to it is fleeting at best, right? And so it's why, even if you look at financially, it's why, most generational wealth doesn't last more than one generation, right? And so, when we look at these kinds of things, it's because we have to learn and we have to deal with, okay, what doesn't work? What are the issues? What are the challenges? The more we deal with that, the better we get at dealing with it. And the easier then it becomes to see what is good ideas, what is bad ideas, what will work, what won't work. And even if something doesn't work, the question is and this is the primary thing I live by, is learning in nuggets, right? And so I was having a conversation the other day. I bought a $10,000 program from a guy, a training program, and one of my clients said, "Yeah, but you're already an expert in that area." I said, "Yes, but if I can get one nugget of information, just one nugget of information out of that I didn't know or didn't realize that I knew, then it's a value for me in that. That helps me offset. So this continuing education is this idea. The more I fail, the more I learn, right? The more I focus on growth, the more I learn. I mean, even for me going to college and those kind of things, I had two businesses when it came time for me to go to college, right? And so, I had two businesses. So when I went to college, I started college at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. And I literally just went down the course catalog and I said, you know what, this one would be useful. This one would be useful. And that's how I picked for years of college. That's how I picked, okay, psychology, yes, that would be useful. Philosophy, yes, that would be useful, right? So I looked at these kind of things, and it's the same way that I deal with Kyrios. It's the same way that I deal with clients. It's what do I need to know and what do they need to know that's going to help them become more efficient, become more effective, help them grow, so on and so forth. So a lot of what we do falls into the marketing arena. But if you actually look inside the Kyrios platform, for example, there's two distinct sections to it. One section is about marketing and business growth, and the other section is about business development, right? And so it's this idea of how can I become more efficient at what I do? Because if the saying is true that time is money, then the more time I save, the more money I can make, right? And so by focusing on these things in conjunction and integrating them together, then I have a much greater capacity to be able to create a longer lasting impact on my business.
And with the Kyrios platform and what you have, so where you just described two kind of pillars in it, the marketing side and the business development components. More often than not, business owners have, right, an idea. It's a product or a service that they're taking to market to solve a problem, a pain point, a something for someone. Their expertise very seldomly are specifically in business development, marketing, and many other back office functions, accounting, payroll, all of those kinds of things. But without the marketing and the business development on the front end, growth and scale of a business is really painful and really challenging.
Yes.
So bringing this
growth can happen. Scale is virtually impossible. Scaling without systems is virtually impossible, but growth can happen.
Slowly and painfully.
Yes, very.
Very slowly, very painfully, right? I speak from personal experience, right? If at that front end, businesses grow referral, a fabulous way to grow, but you can't actually control that. And building out and having those first two pieces, the marketing and the business development, where I'm going to make up numbers for 85 to 90% of business owners are not skilled in those spaces to solve and give efficient tools and systems for their ability to then grow and scale what they are good at is absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
When you think about what influence and impact you want to have with Kyrios, what do you want to be? What will it look like in 5 years?
So, essentially all I want to do is change the paradigm just a bit out there, right? And so something that you just said a second ago is referrals are fabulous, but you can't really control that. And that actually is very, very common. Something that I hear people say all the time. Well, I run my business via word of mouth. And then my question that I always ask is, okay, how are you controlling that? Right? And, well, you can't control it, but you can in actuality, right? You just have to have the right systems and structures in place in order to be able to control it. And one of the easiest places to affect for a lot of business is being able to directly affect that word of mouth referral business. And you can do that while you're building everything else onto it. And, it kind of goes back to that. Why did we bring Review Hero Pro into the Kyrios platform? Well, because reviews, reputation, those kind of things are word of mouth business, but it needs to be in order to scale it, in order to structure these kinds of things, there need to be other things besides just saying, hey, if you don't mind, would you leave me a review on Google or Facebook or whatever? Or, if you ever think about anyone that could use me, let me know, right? And as a referral resource, you need to have some more structure to these kinds of things. In fact, so I was paid a lot of years ago, I was actually paid by a financial services firm. And what they ultimately wanted was they wanted me to build out a referral program for them, right? For their sales agents. And they were selling life insurance and this and the other. And I built out the most successful referral program that has ever existed with them. They paid me a lot of money. And what was interesting was that I took three of their agents and trained them on how to do this and how to do this appropriately. And those three agents from the referrals were booking more appointments, making more sales, and making more money than any other 30 agents combined. Right?
Okay, hold on. Say that one more time. 3 people, well-trained, were outperforming
any other 30 agents that they had combined. Okay. In fact, I mean, imagine if you called up a referral, right? If you pick up the phone and you call somebody referred you to someone else, you call up the phone and they already know about you. They already have some idea of what's going on. They know what to expect. So instead of having all of the general conversation that we tend to have with the referrals up front, you're having this more direct conversation of, oh, so did so-and-so tell you about what I do? Yes, she did. Okay, so now, did she tell you all the details? Well, she gave me some. Okay, is that something that sounds interesting to you? Well, yes. Now, do you feel like that would be something that would be a benefit to you? Yes. Okay, well, let's schedule a time to talk, right? And so, what happens if a person says no? Well, thank you for your time. You hang up the phone and move on. But if you have enough of these referrals, right, it doesn't matter. And so what was happening with these 3 guys that I trained, they were booking 20 appointments a week, and they were closing 15 to 18 of those per week, right? But it's because the system, the structure was built out to have these people pre-qualified and everything else. And so the argument originally was you can't really control referrals and you can't really control word of mouth. And I said, I don't believe that at all. So I set out to disprove that, right? And so, matter of fact, it's one of the things when we get a new member into Kyrios. So every single person that joins the Kyrios platform is individually onboarded. I have an onboarding team that walks them through the platform, shows them, okay, this is what you need to do. Everybody gets that. It's no charge for it, so on and so forth. And one of the things that I normally will tell people is the very first thing we want to do is you want to build out a referral program for your business. Build out something that will make your referrals, your word of mouth business, more efficient and easier, right? If you start that, if you just made that one impact in your business, every business would grow from that. If you could make it a little bit more consistent, every business would grow from it. And then build other things on top of that, right? That makes life so much easier. And that's really what we set out to do with the platform. And it's kind of funny too, because with the platform, I've had people look at me and say, David, you're a little insane because of some of the things that we're doing. Like, for example, most software's out there. Most software that you buy, they're either going to charge you per user, they're going to charge you per contact in the system of CRMs. So, and that's how they scale their profitability. Well, when I built Kyrios, I did not really think about scaling profitability. And it's not something to me that's important. So upsell. You get in at this price, and then you're now paying this price and this price and this price, right? So it's why we don't charge per user charges. So if you have an office and you have 50 staff members in your office, it's the same price as if you have one user, right? Put all 50 people in there because we want people to be successful, right? Why do I need to make it so expensive that it becomes cost prohibitive, right? We don't charge per contact or anything like that. If you have 1,000 contacts or 100,000 contacts, we had one guy his first day he said, I've got 800,000 contacts. Congratulations, throw them in there, right? Doesn't cost a dime more. Why? So it's that disrupting the idea that the industry has of, okay, well, we can charge a little more for every single user. We can charge a little more for adding in more contacts. Everything that you do, it's a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And my idea is I want to provide massive value, so we're going to set a flat price. You get massive value, you get that flat price. And then what happens is the budget that you're not spending on software, you're able now to reinvest back into your business and help exponentially grow that business. And now you're going to look back at this software and say that was the catalyst, right? And that's how we grow referral word of mouth.
By referral word of mouth that you are actually controlling. So, audience, David totally debunked the myth that you cannot control referrals, and that referral business is the foundation for how you will grow and scale. And when you do it well, it is something that will drive your growth in the future. David, if anybody in the audience is interested in learning more, how do they find out more about Kyrios and and you?
So you can go to kyriossystems.com and you'll get all the information there on it. Hey, I'm on LinkedIn, so anybody is welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn, shoot me a message. I try to make myself easy to get a hold of, those kind of things. I am a busy person, so it may take me a minute to get to you, but shoot me a LinkedIn, shoot us a message, any of that kind of stuff. We're there. We're here. We're available.
And what David has brought to the market is game changing for businesses that are on the cusp of wanting to grow and scale, and letting you focus on your business outcomes and not the machine of running your business. For those of you who have listened in today, we have heard a great journey. We have heard about a gentleman who started as an entrepreneur at age 8 and is bringing to market a platform that is about your success and your ability to drive your business forward. You all know the rules. Don't get left behind. Join me next time.
That's it for today's episode of Disrupt and Innovate. Head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Every single week, one lucky listener that posts a review on iTunes will win the grand prize drawing, a $15,000 private VIP day with Lisa Levy. And be sure to head over to disruptandinnovate.com and get your free copy of Lisa's gift. And join us on our next episode.